Right, we shall open the meeting. It is now 5:30. Our special council meeting Wednesday, the 11th of October 2023. And in opening the meeting, we acknowledge, and very seriously, as we do every meeting, the Whyalla people, the traditional owners of our land on which we meet tonight, and pay our respects to the elders past and present, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who may be present here in the chamber today or online listening in. Item 2, our attendance record. We have 3 apologies from councillors, Councillor Klobuchar, Inglis and Campbell. We also have an apology from our CEO, Justin, and the Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Pong. Item 3, declaration of members' conflict of interest. We do have a quorum. Does anybody have a conflict of interest they feel should be recorded? No conflicts of interest. We'll move on to item 4, reports from council officers. 4.1, the City Growth Ordinary Report. 4.1.1, Community Recreation and Sport Facilities Program 2023-24. I'll refer to the Director of Corporate, whether she wishes to speak to it, or other officers.
No, I won't speak to it, but I will actually hand over to Jade Valentine, the Director of City Growth, to speak to this report.
Thank you, Mayor. I suspect that's because you've heard enough of me today. Good evening, everyone. I'll make this short, sharp and shiny. We're all aware of the financial position of council, and it's been driven home to us all, but most recently with our Finance and Audit Committee meeting. This report is purely and simply a way of applying a 50% grant amount to works we had already identified and scheduled, excluding being more specific around activating Jubilee and making it functional with the addition of the change rooms we've just had with the club room facilities. You would have seen that component. There is no obligation once you submit these grant applications to proceed with any or all, depending on our success or otherwise, but it's an opportunity to match the funding we've committed with funding available in the state government should we be successful. So we worked very hard, Alberto and Gail are in the room, to put these grant applications together to identify those improvements works, some of which have been on our books for a significant amount of time. You would have seen in the content of the report. So we're happy to take questions tonight.
Any questions? Councillor Borden?
So no downside, only upside. Apart from the reshuffling.
I guess if we won all 3 grants and you all got very, very excited and want to move ahead, there would need to be grant will probably have conniptions, but no, that's being lighthearted. We would need to revisit our budget if we were successful for all 3. We would have to reconvene and have a look, I would suggest. Is that fair to say, Grant?
Yes.
Yes, maybe a follow-up question for if we were successful, but when there is the opportunity to gain money like that, I'm assuming not necessarily a done thing, but it would seem prudent to take advantage of that while we can, if we are successful with 1, 2, or all 3 of the.
Correct. I will add to that this particular grant round tends to appear every year. That would be fair to say, Alberto. Yes. So you could also determine to choose your highest priority if we were successful in all 3 and look to stage those other in coming years, but at least we know the grant application's been prepared. So we can have those considerations once we get to that, cross that bridge when we come to it.
Thank you. Councillor Simpson.
There's a clause in the contribution area. Do we qualify that clause as a council experiencing social economic difficulty?
We probably would qualify under the first one, but you also, it has to be for a facility that isn't owned by local government. So unfortunately, if we go for these grants, we aren't eligible for more than 50% because that clause is really for other organisations that may want to go for this grant funding. So it has to be, you have to be low on the CFR index, and not be a facility owned by us. Yeah, both of those things need to apply.
Yeah, councillor Knox.
I've got three questions. First question is, how does this relate to the money that our local member has targeted from the state government for Whyalla? What's happening with that?
Excellent question, councillor Knox. We have not received a definitive response from the Office of Sport and Recreation in relation to that $6 million amount. In our view, this will prompt that, having these submissions land on their desk, but we haven't received a clear definitive direction as to how that expenditure will be administered by the Office of Sport and Recreation to this point in time.
I'd suggest it's probably worth having a meeting with Eddie Hughes. Try to sort it out at that end. The second question relates to the bed and oval and the toilets for people with disabilities. Now, when we don't seem to comply currently with those toilets, yet those toilets are new, and I'm at a loss to know why they don't comply.
The toilets we're referring to are on the other side of the oval. The toilets where we do comply with the toilets, it's the surrounding access to the toilets and the car park that we currently don't comply. So the specific toilets that we need to upgrade are on the other side of the oval from your entry gates. And it's the area around the existing toilet block that doesn't comply. That clarify it?
Okay, and the other one is the club room facilities at Jubilee Park. How do we envisage they are going to work?
Excellent question. We've got some competing pressures at the minute from female sport, both soccer and football, and we have the junior soccer matter, and we have the need to likely relocate a club from the foreshore land adjacent the Discovery Park. We can't definitively say which of those would neatly fit into the club room at this stage, but I would suggest that one or all of those needs would be met by having that club room facility available for use.
And I would suspect that we've had some discussions with the Show Society in regard to this facility.
I will own that. We had no time to get the grant application in to do that, so that would need to come.
Councillor Simpson, I'll allow you a second question.
Pause. I hadn't finished. Yeah. Oh, hey. Let me continue. I'm in favour of the Jubilee Park because it services 3 or 4 organisations. I think to date we probably spent enough money on the better oval and Memorial Oval at this stage of our financial commitment. Thank you, councillor. Thank you. Now I finish.
Any further questions or comments? Okay, councillor Todd.
I just would like to comment. I agree with what you're saying, councillor Simpson. My only thing is that if the toilets aren't disability compliant, then that is something that we do need to spend money on.
Thank you. There's no further comments or questions. We have a recommendation there. I take it as read. It's on your screen. Councillor Border, are you moving that way? Councillor Westerman seconding? In that case, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Are you voting?
I'm going, yes. The majority.
Thank you, councillor. Harry, thank you all. On that note, I will declare our special meeting closed.